What up, though? And welcome back to I'm Growing Man. It's your man John D in the building. So today's uh today's topic is me sharing what my wife helped me uncover on how I got so, I guess you could say, disciplined on this path. And I'm going to try to break it down as the way she did it for me. And now, mind you, I've been telling you guys I've been on this journey and I've been sticking to this routine, which I have been, but people don't understand why did I continue to do it. So she helped me understand why I did it. And this is what I want everybody to know. If you know the why and you understand the why, it is a different understanding. Like, maybe that didn't make sense. This is what I'm like. My wife, she understands math, and she does not live in the world of math at all. She works. She's a public servant in public health, so she doesn't deal with math on a regular basis. But she can do some math without too much help. And I'm not talking about basic arithmetic. I'm talking about real math. And the reason why I know this is because my kids were in high school and my daughter's in college now, but the way that she helped them, and it was like without a refresher. I got a degree in math and I got to look at things. And I'm like, but what we determined is that she understands the language of math. And I've been trying to figure out when did it click? And because, that's awesome when you, like, she's just that cold in math. But anyways, when did it click for me is because I saw the results. Like, when my family came back uh, to the United States, I was abroad for a year and a half. I came home during breaks, but I was gone. I separated from my family. At that point, I had to figure it out. Like, I needed a routine with my life where I'm working on something. If you look at NBA players, I think I talked about it in the last episode. They've been practicing for so long. All professional athletes been practicing. They've been putting that work in. So that's the reason why it's so easy to pay them that much money, because they're that good. But everybody could become that good in something if they put the work in like they did in a specific sport. And that's when it clicked for me. I used to be like, why couldn't I have this or that? I didn't work hard enough like they did. Like the comedians who get all of this money, they are cold at what they do. And to be that cold means they had to put work in. And it becomes with a routine. Like, it's a blessing to do what I do, to work on my routine, because I get to work with students and I get to practice in real time on communication, because my goal is to give them everything I got for them to realize they're that important due to the circumstances they may be in, growing up in. So I know that I'm not there, but I'm planting seeds, and I'm going to be there for them to always, where they may need me. And I mean that sincerely, because in order for a community to change, there has to be some type of trust that the information that they're getting is good enough for them to do whatever they want with it. But we have to get into the mindset that we have to grow together. So when I was abroad for a year and a half, I created this routine. Every time I went back home, like, the relationship with my wife and then my kids, it changed. It was starting to look differently, because before, the things that distracted me was more important than what I thought was important. Like, my family, my wife, my kids, they're supposed to be important to me, right? But they were on the back burner to going out, watching the game, uh, going to a house party, doing any and everything where I am living my best life while my family was being a family outside of me. But as a man, I'm thinking that they're happy, everything is cool, and I'm living my life. I didn't know what it looked to like to grow with my family. I didn't know. I had no idea. So when I started to create this routine and to work on communication and try to figure out all the blind spots I got as a young man maturing into a man, I realized how immature I was in so many different areas. As a very seasoned adult man, by the age of 40, I was very immature still, you know. But by the age of 41, I was blessed enough to have some reflections where I could get to this point where I'm telling you about this routine. And this routine, like I said, the routine gave me results that I was really happy for. Like after I saw the results, I kind of committed for the rest of my life that I would just do that, because I was like, if I did that much in such a short period of time, what could I do for the rest of my life? So now, 5 years later, like, I understand why having non-negotiables, to have the motivation to say, I'm going to be the best husband, the best father, the best communicator ever, because these three things nobody care about. And I feel like every man should care about those titles, not against me, but to yourself, because the better you become, the better your family becomes. Like, the way you move could determine if your family's going to get to the next level. Like, we're following poor messages and this episode was not to be negative. We're not going to do that. I was just thinking about some things that's going on in the news, and as a man, we need to make better decisions. That's it. And the way that you could really make better decisions is isolating your 8 hours that's to you. Like, so 8 hours of sleep, you have to put that away. That's for body maintenance. You got to get your sleep. 8 hours at work, or people that go to school. That's 8 hours you got to give away to, you're giving it away to a company, or you're working for yourself. If you are working for yourself, that is the best 8 hours you could really do, because you're supposed to fail in so many areas to know how not to fail. So if you're doing that, I commend you. You have to truly believe in yourself to take that route, because that is by far one of the most difficult routes to find what you want. But those who do find that, you deserve everything you get. So students, the 8 hours you're given to school is to learn as much as you can from those adults in that building. Those are the most intelligent adults period, at one time in a building, just there to help you find ways to move through life. And if you can learn to focus and believe that you can learn the information, you're going to open up doors that it's worth believing in yourself. I'm telling you, students all over, if you don't think you're important, you won't do the right thing. If you believe you're important, you will learn to do the right thing. You're going to make mistakes. The key to making mistakes is learn. Why did you have the mistake? Did you not have enough information? Was it completely new? Somebody misled you? But it's going to give you an experience to prevent that from happening again. If you do not think and reflect, the mistake could occur again and waste your time. And next time have a different kind of consequence that you don't even want. So please be mindful of that. So my motivation through the last 5 years was to just find a really, literally a better version of myself that my kids could appreciate, that my wife could say, like, this is the reason why I got married. That, like, it's like I said, I know people that are married that are not in the place that me and my wife are, but these podcasts is like a way for me to kind of just like give my thoughts on how I know we got here, because I told her, I told my friends too. It was, if there's anything I could give to the world, is the way that I'm thinking about the relationship with my wife now, because I didn't know I could think like this, and the way that I care about her, it, I feel like every man would want to feel the way that I feel about my wife toward their partner. Because when you can feel the way that I feel toward my wife, you don't have time to make any mistakes from distractions. Making mistakes through you don't have enough time, because working on yourself is a full-time job, and you don't even have 8 hours to do it, because 8 hours, like I said, for work, school, and sleep. These last 8 hours, what are you doing with it? I hear people playing video games, people, watching movies, watching videos. Like, those are minutes in the day that you're wasting where you could be working on yourself, just like those athletes was putting them hours to go professional so that they can make enough money to do what they want. But imagine you could do that at any age in something that you want to do it in. You just have to put the work in. Like, there's a level of mastery of self that brings fruits that I don't even know if mankind knows about it for real, because it would be more people there. So I'm telling you, if you believe in yourself, put the work in. The journey is necessary. The journey, you know what the journey is? It's how much more work can I put in myself so I can see a different result? Because I'm already believing that I am important. Keep putting in the work. Where can I find some more time? But then after you get you start maximizing your time, this is what happens. You just have to be patient and enjoy the process, because there's an interest rate, I can't, where it does the exponential, like after a certain amount of time, it just separates you from people. Like with professional athletes, like there's just a certain amount of hours that people are committed that your average, now above average basketball player has no idea about. Even your excellent basketball player, it takes a different type of mindset to be able to perform on a professional level. And people was like, they pay all that money because they've invested so much time into the sport that they're getting their just due. And I don't think they're getting enough anyway, because that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. People say they setting up for generations to come. I don't know if people know how to do that yet, but this is not about being negative. This is about creating a routine that can create a different version of you that you are more than proud of, because you did the work. You know what you did to get there. And then once you understand the work it takes, it's all about giving it to your kids. And I just pray that some of these students that I get to talk to on a daily basis, that once I guess I'm growNman takes off, like I'm gonna still work, because I want my students to know that it's possible. And once that happens, there's going to be a different level of work that is going to that can go to the next level, if that makes sense. Like the standard is going to be, you have to put the work in. It's not like I don't know what it takes. If you don't put the work in, you won't ever know what it takes. And nobody's really going to be over you unless you have parents that's going to push you at an early age. But think about this. Those of you that are adults and you work for people and you don't like your job, think about the 8 hours you use when you get out of work. You don't like your job, so you want to escape. You could be really working on yourself, working on something. So by the time you get done with your job, like when you're had it up to whatever, you've already started working on something else. But it's yours. You put the work in, you could create your own everything, but you have to put the work in. Most time, people are putting in work for another company to get better. Just imagine all that time you put into a company to get better if you were putting it into you. And that's why I say it's a blessing that I'm in education, because me working on communication, I get to practice with students and parents, colleagues every single day. And at some point, I believe I'm going to break the code. Like, and when I say the code, I mean like the right words that make a student say, I get it now. And I think every kid wants that. You don't want to, they say you're 18, you're an adult, but that's just legally. You're still immature. No, I believe you probably you shouldn't be an adult until you're about 25, 26. And I was still immature at that point, but I'm just saying, like, you haven't lived enough life at 18 to say that you know what's going on. You can stay out of trouble, but at the end of the day, you're still a kid. And I just pray that whenever, however old you are, when you get any of these messages, you can't get it if you don't put the work in. That's it. Like, I see that I used to watch these videos of how people are supposed to like get rich and just be like, they gonna show you how to make money. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you have to put a certain amount of hours in for you to get that type of reward. And you haven't. Like, your biggest reward is you're getting is the company you work for, because you're putting all those hours into a company like that. And I'm not saying like it's cool to work for a company, but in your 8 hours, you should be working on something that's yours, so that you don't just continue to do that and wait for retirement. Because the sooner you start working on yourself, your own business, it will develop. But you have to put the routine in place and put the work in every single day, no matter what. You sick, sleepy, tired, overwhelmed, non-negotiables need to be completed. And when I realized the 8 hours, what I was doing, when I started to remove the things out of my 8 hours and started to dedicate, like, I'm going to put this time into this, I noticed the results. Like, no, like, I do believe people enjoyed working with me in my past, but now I feel like people really enjoy working with me. And the only uh, credit has to be that I intentionally made that happen, because I wanted to be a better educator, because I did come back as a teacher. But now at this point, like, I want to be able to help a family change its trajectory from some words, because they weren't going to get it from anybody else. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant or anything, but my goal is to give my life experiences to these kids through a few set of words that could potentially put their family at least in a place where they could be happier. Because I've noticed from experience and watching that people could stay at a low place because they don't know that it's a low place. Like, they can shoot high, but if you can tolerate the place that you're in, you won't get out of it. You have to want to get out of the place to get into a new place. And the only way you can do that is by believing you deserve it. And they say life's not fair, but that's an opinion. When I think about life, everybody's has their own circumstances. And it's your job to figure your own out and not worry about others, because when you worry about others and what others are doing, you're wasting time that could be dedicated to you and your growth. As soon as people truly believe in putting in the work, when people get addicted to putting in the work, the world will change. And I think people will use their superpowers for good, for sure. I don't know why they would use it for bad, because I think once you work on yourself, you start to understand why people do what they do. So if people actually worked on themselves and not worried about, other people or the things around them, they wouldn't have time to be worried about things that don't matter because they would be working on themselves, even at a young age. Like if you could get your kids to believe in themselves and say, hey, okay, you can be a kid, but you got to do this, this, and this every single day for the rest of your life. And what my suggestions: communication, activity, diet, and emotional intelligence. Cade. If your kids could master that by the age of 25, I do believe that they would enjoy a journey that less than 0.00001% of mankind has experienced. That's the honest to God truth. Because I just I don't hear people talk like that. So I challenge you, if you're up for challenges, become so cold in something that people can't ignore you. I can't think of his name, because that's not mine. Be so good that they can't ignore you. I think it's Cal Newport, I think, something like that. But like, you're not that good. So become that code where your job is no longer a choice. It's if I want to. Because when you put work into something that's yours, you hold it differently. But if you don't have anything to hold, you're going to dedicate all of your time into something that's unnecessary for your growth process. So I challenge you, go get it. Today is the best day to start a series of consecutive thousands of days in a row that you work on yourself and watch your fruits come in ways that you can't imagine because you haven't done it yet. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.